Captain's log. The system is boiling over with the stifled voices and opinions of the downtrodden. I fear the fallout will overcome us. Planets like Hurston employ strict programming to control the hearts and minds of the people within its jurisdiction. As a private military contractor, business has been very lucrative. The more Hurston tries to crack down on its citizens, the more radical and reckless its more delinquent constituents become. I swear it seems I can hardly keep the gamma ray probes down long enough to have any meaningful effect before someone springs up more in their place. I could make my millions just blasting illegal probes across the system. There's also no shortage of bounties to capture. Some of them are frankly scary in that, how can these ragtag criminals afford a hammerhead? I want a hammerhead. Thankfully, these criminals are not smart. They continue trying to hold the same sections of space, or try to dig into the same caves. But as long as I'm around, justice will be served. I don't agree with many of Hurston's policies, or the rest of the system for that matter. But I can't condone the illicit activities of the local gangs either. There's a right way to seek change. This isn't it. Though somehow I doubt too many of them are looking for change as much as a way to unleash their dark side. That's fine. I can take them. Today marks a change in their behavior. I'm used to simple bounties on uncoordinated targets. This was different. They took an entire station and held it hostage. No one could get in due to the blockade. So the other PMCs and I set about fixing that. Crusader Security deployed a small flotilla of scanning ships to probe the Ninetails' defenses and try to crack the quantum lock. Our job was to protect the scanners against wave after wave of enemy fighters. Again, where did they get all these ships? Buccaneers, Valkyries, and yes, more hammerheads. Between my buddies and I, they really didn't stand much of a chance. The little guys didn't pose much of a threat compared to our wall of blaster fire. In fact, the scariest thing in the area was the asteroids that more often than not seemed to come out of nowhere. I wish I could say that a skilled pilot like myself could easily avoid them, but that's not always the case. But that's not all. After the scanning ships had enough opportunities to do their work, we were able to track down the main body of the Ninetails fleet. If I thought hammerheads were bad, what's left to say about an Idris? Yeah, that's right, an Idris, complete with a size 10 railgun on the nose that deletes anything in its path. One of my comrades, Massive Fruit, got distracted and lost track of the railgun's vector. He didn't make it. He was right next to me. The explosion rocked my ship. But we got him, shortly after his sacrifice, in fact. The whole thing went out with a big bang. The station was free, and now medical aid could get in unattested. Well, hope you guys enjoyed that bit of roleplay. What is the Ninetails event like? I think it's great. When the event triggers, everyone gets the location of the blockade as a glowing beacon on the star map. You quantum travel to the location, and then you'll get knocked out of quantum travel just before arriving. Open your Mobi-Glass, and accept the mission for the area, and you'll be hired to protect the scanning ships as they scan various locations. Fill up the bar with all the scanning progress, and the location of the Ninetails fleet will be revealed. There will be a second mission to accept, and doing so will give you the location to fly to where the fleet will spawn in. In an ideal world, I think they are all supposed to spawn in at the same time. Our server was pretty bogged down at this point, and the ships were getting destroyed moments after they spawned. They were spawning in 1, 2, 3 fighters at a time. The only one that even remotely took time was the Idris itself. To my knowledge, I do not think we had any retaliators or eclipses, so it was primarily energy weapons that took it down. The fact that that was possible suggests to me that they've done some major balance passes for these kinds of fights, and this fight seemed to take much less time compared to previous Idris battles I've participated in. While I love the community events like this, there are a few changes that they could make that would incentivize them more. The payout received after the Idris went down was 62,000 AUEC. For the amount of time spent getting to this point, that and the 12,000 AUEC received for the first segment of the mission seems pitifully low. Doing surveillance missions, I can make about 200,000 AUEC per hour, and similar rates in other kinds of missions. As much time as this takes to complete, they need to bump up the pay to at least 200,000 AUEC. I think that move alone would ensure that everybody wants to get into the action. It would certainly increase the sense of reward that I would have gotten. Now, there is a whole other side to this based around blockade running. I did try to get my feet wet in this part, but found it very stale in respect to classic trade running. Everyone across all the servers are competing for the same, very limited stock of medical supplies. I was trying to fill up my freelancer max, and simply couldn't get anything for my hold. I think in a situation like this, the stock of medical supplies needs to be artificially inflated to account for the demand. Otherwise, it really just kills the whole blockade running aspect. The lore reason for the increase could be something as simple as everyone working overtime to produce the supplies in the same way that everyone was making masks at the outset of the human malware event of 2020. Yes, you can scrounge for supplies and wrecks floating around, but for the time invested into that, the payoff for the stock you get is very low. In conclusion, I found the event to be a lot of fun. I just wish the back end handled spawning a bit better to increase the pace, and I wish the payout was substantially higher. But what did you think? Did you get to participate in the event at all? Were the servers stable enough for you to complete it all the way through? Well, that's enough for me. You guys know how this goes. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Do all the YouTube things. Let me know what you think. And until next time, this is Odd Job Entertainment, signing off. Oh, gee.